all humans, right, are like receivers. We're actually conduits for life energy. If you were to focus on tuning into your own body, you would actually become aware that there is more than just the physical selves.
I'm known as like the modern witch. Like being termed that is obviously how like those who are against it look at you.
As we grow up, right, there are some parts of us that are not healed yet. So we tend to carry these little parts of us, the wounded child, into our adult life.
If you wear already, you feel, you believe it, there's a push. Not because of you wear already, strike lottery. If the amulet really helps this way, there will not be any poor people.
I had to find a way to remove fear. So I replaced fear with excitement. So every time I see a ghost now, I no longer reel back like how I was. Oh my God, let's go!
Welcome to Spiritual Circle.
I'm the middle child. My dad has always been around. He's just a very passive person, doesn't contribute much as well. So much resentment because why are they not fulfilling their roles? And we all have this crazy expectations of what parents should be. It always felt as though my entire family, right, was latching onto my mom being the sole provider for everyone. It became a norm for me and my brothers to be that irresponsible person as well. I was very, very fearful of really committing to a relationship, to really dive in really, really deep as well. And it made me feel as though like, oh, what if I'm going to be an absent father as well? I never had that guiding figure that I always wanted. And at the end of it, I told him like, Pa, you know what? I'm not here to blame you. I want to step out of that shadow. I want to start to be that father figure that I never had for myself. That was also when I decided to leave my corporate job to step into a full-time astrologer, to play that role of like a guide as a mentor that I never had. I see a lot of people who are stuck, whether they are in toxic relationships, going from one person over the another, right? The person might change, but the dynamics of the relationship still stays the same. And when I look at a natal chart, what I'm starting to realize is that it all correlates back to how they've experienced love and the early patterns of attachments with their parents. Sun is in the 8th house, right? And 8th house also represents like the supernatural realm. You venturing down into this investigative thing is that there's a certain kick in it. Like there's a certain challenge that you see in investigating the unknown because you cannot be proven. All the more you have to want to go in there to prove.
If you are really here, drain it and turn it off, switch it off.
Chiron represents where we experience a certain childhood wounding, right? And your Chiron is in Taurus. So Taurus is about self-worth or self-value, which this tells me you kind of don't value yourself enough. And in a way, you generate value or you get value by helping people, by getting people to value you instead in return.
In your chart, your parents, they tend to give you what you don't need. There is also strong sort of like pressure from like your parents. So that means that from young, looking at your Chinese like birth chart as well as like your energy, you may have been constantly having expectations imposed on you.
Because I feel abandoned so much, I must give all of myself. You lose yourself in their experiences, that you are not able to form substantial boundaries to care for yourself, to value for yourself.
My son's interests come first, wife interests come first, my parents' interests come first, everybody but my own. When it comes back to me, no one's happy with it because no one understands my position. So that was very heartbreaking in many ways. I always find that I end up doing everything, end up giving everything, and everyone just dead weight, it's depending and leeching off me.
And then no one appreciates you at the end and they leave anyway.
What the hell?
But that's because you don't appreciate yourself first. So you're expecting somebody to fill up that wound for you. There's a sense of like playing God in some ways.
Sometimes I jokingly say I'm a generous God. So maybe there's more to it now that I think about that.
You feel as though because now you're in charge of the other person's resources, the person cannot live without you. How are you going to be abandoned in that sense?
Oh, so that means that if the person needs him more than he needs them, then they won't leave him.
And that's how you derive your value, because going back to Chiron and Taurus, you have no self-value. The only way you define your self-value is when people need you. As we grow up, right, there are some parts of us that are not healed yet. So we tend to carry these little parts of us, the wounded child, into our adult life.
When you opened up to your dad, did that change the dynamics with your father? Did it affect him?
There are some like efforts,
In his
right?
own
In his own
ways.
ways, in own little ways. And I think for me, it's all about like having that compassion to be able to see, the effort that he's making. When I asked my mom, what their childhood was like, I asked what my dad's childhood was like as well. I started to realize that he, on his part, he didn't have a father figure on his own. And that clicked so much for me. And I talk a lot about intergenerational trauma here. Oftentimes we hold very high expectations of our parents. And I think that was me, like when I was younger. But I think if we were to look at things from a more objective point of view, if you look at things from a more compassionate point of view, I think our parents are just trying the best, the only ways they knew how to.